Welcome to Voice of the Vatican, our top stories. A new dicastery. A Vatican Motu Proprio has declared that Dallas, Texas Bishop Kevin Farrell will head the newly created Curial Dicastery of Laity, Family, and Life. Morning After Pill. Bishops on the island of Malta issue a pastoral letter to help the faithful to understand the moral implications of proposed legislation to legalize this controversial drug. Feeding the hungry. The Missionaries of Charity family to host 2,000 poor of Rome for a special meal in honor of the upcoming canonization of their founder. Reaching out with aid. Caritas, the charitable arm of the Catholic Church, offers aid to thousands suffering in Bangladesh after intense flooding has devastated 19 regions. Catholic Bites. Say you don't have time to learn the Catholic faith? Seminarians and priests right here in Rome are using technology to spread the faith through dynamic, informative 10-minute podcasts. Italian earthquake. The Holy Father leads 11,000 faithful in praying the rosary for the victims of the earthquakes in central Italy. An Unplug and Play Day. It's time to go technology-free and reconnect with those we love around us and with God's creation. And even the Holy Father has gotten into the theme. I'm Ashley Norona in Rome, Italy, and you're watching Voice of the Vatican, only on Shalom World TV. Pope Francis released a Motu Proprio last week, announcing the creation of a new dicastery at the Vatican called the Dicastery of Laity, Family, and Life. In the document, the Holy Father said the move is a response to the reality of our times and is part of an effort of reform. It combines two previous dicasteries, the Pontifical Council for the Laity and the Pontifical Council for the Family, into one. To head the new dicastery, Bishop Kevin Farrell, who's been the Bishop of Dallas since 2007, will take the reins. In 2014, Bishop Farrell made national headlines when he welcomed a non-Catholic family to live temporarily in a house on church property after the woman's fiancé died of Ebola. He famously explained the decision with the words, "We help people because we're Catholic, not because they're Catholic."
These are difficult times for them, and I would hope that the whole community would kind of understand and bring them back into the community and be kind and accepting and compassionate to these people who have suffered in this way.
Bishop Farrell is originally from Ireland and has spent most of his life in the United States. He was ordained a priest with the Legionaries of Christ in 1978. The bishop said he was humbled by the appointment, which will take effect September 1st.
I got a telephone call from the Pope himself, and he told me what he was thinking, and I told him that, I would do whatever he wanted, but he should really think this out again. I'm too old for that kind of a job. And I met with him for about 2 hours, and he convinced me that I needed to do this. He has a very kind, gentle way of twisting your arm.
In the words of the Holy Father, our thoughts turn to the laity, the family and life, to whom we wish to offer support and help, because they are active witness to the gospel in our time and an expression of the goodness of the Redeemer. On the island of Malta, Archbishop Charles Scicluna and Gozo Bishop Mario Grech have issued a pastoral letter pinpointing the moral implications of proposed legislation to make the morning after pill legal in the country. In June, the Women's Right Foundation in this Catholic country filed a judicial protest against the state, demanding licensing, importation, and distribution of emergency contraception be made legal. In the pastoral letter called Cherishing Life, the bishop said those who are seriously living according to their Christian beliefs have the moral obligation to inform themselves fully about all of the effects of medicinal products. And in the case of scientific doubt on how these medicinal products work, The decision must always be in favor of the protection of life. The bishops warned that the pill can act as an abortifacient in certain circumstances, which results in the death of an unborn child, and that the life of the human being from the very first days of its existence can be threatened when pills or other medicines are taken with the aim that the life that has been conceived in the womb is to be destroyed. Let us take a moment to reflect on the words of Pope Francis in 2013 to Catholics of the UK. Even the weakest and most vulnerable, the sick, the old, the unborn, and the poor are masterpieces of God's creation. Made in His own image, destined to live forever, and deserving of the utmost reverence and respect. The Catholic world is gearing up for the canonization of Mother Teresa. In Calcutta, the Mother Teresa Film Festival will occur from the 26th to 29th, with Catholic filmmakers from all over the world participating with films dedicated to the Blessed. And here in Rome, on the 1st of September, the Missionary of Charity family is hosting a meal for the poor of the city in honor of their founder.
At 5 o'clock, we have the program begins. So 4 o'clock onward, the poor people of Rome will be brought in. Now, these poor people, where do we get from? We have a home for night shelter called Casa Serena in Rome. And then we have also every month food distribution for people who have less or minimum pension. So that group of people. Sisters have homes for the poor people. MC Sisters, Missionaries of Charity. They have more than 4 or 5 houses. The MC Fathers. And so altogether we have almost 8 centers.
The goal is to create an atmosphere of feast and honor for the poor, who are the event's VIPs.
And we start with a welcome. Then we have the lighting of the lamp. The Indian oil lamp we light. And while lighting it, we will be singing, or somebody will be singing, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya. That means, lead me from darkness to light. And this is an old Vedic prayer. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from unreal to the real. In other words, from falsehood to truth. And lead me from amrutoma mrityoma amrutangamaya. That means lead me from death to immortality, so eternal life.
The poor themselves will light the candles, along with Cardinal Angelo Comastri and representatives of the MC Sisters, Brothers, Fathers, and lay family.
Also, the symbol is there are 2 kinds of things. It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Mother Teresa did all the time, from the beginning to the end of her life, working with the poor. I could experience living with her for more than 30 years. I could see that she did not curse the darkness, but she tried to light a candle. That's one. Secondly, our work, contact with any person must rekindle in them the desire for God.
200 volunteers wearing handmade blue aprons with a photo of Mother sewn on them will serve the poor. Missionaries of Charity members take a 4th vow to give wholehearted free service to the poorest of the poor.
I remember one director of a big air company came to Home for the Dying. Mother thought he was a brother. So she told him to go and clean the toilets of man. And poor man, he did not know how he was sweating. Anyway, and then after coming back, he said, Mother Teresa, I wouldn't even do this kind of work, even if you give me $10,000. She said, nor will I do, because I am doing it to someone, not for something. You are doing it for something, but I am doing it for someone. So that's a conviction that she had. Always, you did it to me. I remember one of the last visits to the Holy Father, 20th of May, 1997, 3 months before she died, we went to the Holy Father. And then she took his hand and, you did it to me. She took the Holy Father's hand and putting the fingers like this. And the other hand she took and said, I will, with God's help, be holy. So you put both the hands together, that is our life.
And the evening will be highlighted with a dance by children of a Syro-Malabar dance group, with speakers and with song. A musical on the life of Mother Teresa will round out the evening, all with the aim to share the love of Christ that Mother Teresa exemplified.
Love never gets old. Love never gets tired of loving and giving. And love never gives up. And so love never dies. Mother Teresa died, but love did not die. The CNN, on the 6th of September, the day after she died, I was in Florence when she died. I came straight away down to Rome. When going to celebrate Mass in one of the sister's house in Casilina, the CNN they were at the door and they asked me, Mother Teresa died. Now what can happen to the Missionaries of Charity? I said, Mother Teresa died, but God did not die. So if Mother Teresa, if God could choose a person like her, He will find. As long as we remain faithful to our vocation, our society, our missions of charity will continue. As long as there are poor people in the world, this must continue.
Floodwaters in north and northwest Bangladesh may be receding, but suffering for residents is far from over. It's estimated that approximately 3.7 million people across 19 districts in the country have been affected by intense monsoon-induced flooding and landslides. 106 people have been reported dead. Homes have been destroyed and 250,000 people left roofless, and many more have lost crops and fish stock. With nearly 8,000 people living in 69 flood shelters, the Catholic Church's social service agency, Caritas, has come to the aid of thousands. Pintu William Gomes, senior manager of Caritas Disaster Management, says the residents need substantial assistance to survive and rebuild their lives. Since the 11th of August, Caritas Bangladesh Central Office has distributed water and sanitation kits containing soaps, detergent, water purification tablets, and oral saline, and also given cash handouts of 4,000 taka, about $51 to 1,650 families. The Catholic Church is the largest charitable organization in the world, and it's only authentic charity that purifies and raises human love to the perfection of God's love. Haven't got the time to sit down and take on an in-depth study of the Catholic faith? Well, Catholic Bites has the answer for you. They're called podcasts for busy Catholics. Short, dynamic talks about important aspects of Catholic faith, coming to you straight from Rome.
Catholic Bites started because we really recognized a need for catechesis for Catholics on the go. Many people don't have time to invest maybe a full hour at their parish or listening to some audio or video. And so we thought maybe we could produce some sort of catechetical tool that people could listen to while they're on the way to work, on the way to school, folding their laundry, whatever it is, something in short little bites to just give these people a little bit more information about their Catholic faith.
The goal of Catholic Bites is to offer dynamic catechesis for people on the move. The 5 to 10 minute episodes provide a systematic tool to learn more about Catholicism or to grow in your relationship with the Lord.
We have the whole podcast planned out to be a kind of synthesis of the entirety of the Catholic faith. And so we start with philosophical foundations of Christianity. We go to the scriptures, church history, the teachings of the church, moral teachings, spirituality, liturgy, and the saints. And so we really cover all there is out there in the Catholic Church, at least at a basic level. It's delivered by different speakers from Rome, mostly priests and seminarians from the North American College, but also lay people, religious, and other priests that we can find in the city of Rome.
What started out as an idea amongst 3 seminarians has now become a digital reality that now reaches thousands. The twice-weekly podcasts can be found at www.catholicbites.com. That's bites with a Y. And from other online sources.
You can also find us on Laudate, the #1 Catholic app, iTunes, Pocket Casts, and any other podcast reader that's available on the web.
Organizers hope that Catholic Bites can bring Jesus' love to the world one bit and bite at a time.
Catholic Bites started as an organization that really desired to share the faith, spread the faith, and spread the beauty and love that we experienced here in Rome. And that's what's at the core of the organization still today. And we ask everybody to please pray for us that we can continue to spread that love and that beauty.
The Holy Father shelved his weekly catechesis during his public papal audience in St. Peter's Square this week, and instead led the 11,000 people present in the prayers of the sorrowful mysteries of the Holy Rosary, especially for the victims of the earthquakes in central Italy. He expressed his sadness and condolences to those who've lost loved ones, and his spiritual support to those who are anxious and afraid. The devastating 6.2 quake struck at 3:36 a.m. on August 24th, with the epicenter about 6.5 miles southeast of Norcia, Italy, the birthplace of St. Benedict and his sister St. Scholastica. Tremors were felt as far as here in Rome, 100 miles away. The initial quake was followed by approximately 200 aftershocks. Several mountain towns in the states of Lazio, Umbria, and Le Marche have been completely devastated. Caritas International has brought relief aid to victims, thousands who've lost their homes and loved ones. During the papal audience, the Holy Father thanked the volunteers who've brought aid and asked all to join in praying to Jesus, who is always moved by compassion before the reality of human suffering, that he may console the brokenhearted and through the intercession of the Virgin Mary, bring them peace. Coming up next, we'll go up close with Father Shannon Bouquet, the president of Human Life International, on HLI's work around the world to protect all human life, from birth to natural death. And we'll stop by a 15th century church in Rome for the celebration of the feast days of a great mother and son duo, Saints Monica and Augustine.
Jesus is God, Jesus is Lord, Jesus has the victory.
We all have a call to greatness, a desire for it. We want to do something good.
Now is your time. You could change the world, and the world needs changing, so get busy.
Shalom World, God's own channel.
More headline news. August 29th marks Unplug and Play Day, a day that encourages family and friends to go technology-free, to put away computers, mobile phones, and other devices in order to have fun and connect with those they love in conversation, or to go outside and enjoy God's gift of nature in some physical activity. Gearing up for the day, Pope Francis received a special white table tennis table, bearing his coat of arms and including personalized paddles. The table tennis equipment was given to the Holy Father by the president of the Italian Table Tennis Federation and the managing director of Killer Spin, which manufactures table tennis equipment. The human need to step back from technology has been a common theme for Pope Francis. He called the internet a gift from God, but he's also warned that the abundance of data and digital stimulation we all consume each day can amount to a kind of mental pollution that blocks us from hearing the voice of God and harms our relationships, shielding us from the real joy and pain that comes only with human interaction. In 1994, Mother Teresa delivered a famous, unabashed pro-life speech at the National Prayer Breakfast in the United States, in the presence of pro-abortion President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary. She said, "I feel that the greatest destroyer of peace today is abortion, because it is a war against the child, a direct killing of the innocent child, murder by the mother herself." An organization called Human Life International is working to restore the peace that has been lost by abortion, with a mission to defend the God-given right to life and dignity of all human persons from conception until natural death.
Human Life International was founded as an educational apostolate, and its basic strategy really is to open the hearts and minds of people around the world with our seminarians, priests, lay faithful on the life issues, the protection of life, the love of life, and the love of family as God has established. And we became a large international community and network, working together with local pro-life leaders around the world to help support their work, to be a mentor in their work, and also at times to work with the local bishops, the local clergy, the local dioceses, in order to support the work of their family apostolate. So it really is an amazing work with right now about 90 to 100 affiliates around the world.
HLI is a Catholic apostolate seeking to respond to the calling to build a culture of life and of love through education, outreach, advocacy, and service. And they're doing it around the world.
Around the world is a growing awareness, and we're watching, for example, in Eastern Europe, that came out of such heinous history of communism and under Nazism, they're emerging from this darkness, and they're realizing that they don't change what's happening, their own culture, their own way of life, their own history is going to fall and out of existence in some regards. So they're starting to protect life. In Belarus, for example, I noticed great pro-life activity, and I share this with the audience that nowhere else in the world have I ever seen a public transit bus pro-life. The entire bus is covered in pro-life propaganda. Inside the bus are pamphlets all on life and family. I have never seen that anywhere else in the world. And this is a country that, if you look at its history, has suffered greatly, and yet it's emerging and promoting family and promoting life. But then you travel into Africa, where they love life, where they love the family, and you're watching such zeal among our African brothers and sisters. I mean, just a desire to protect the culture of life. Latin America, same thing. But I think what our audience needs to realize is that the threat is still there, and that there is a real threat. And for our audience, who really are very spiritual people, to know that this is a spiritual battle. That's the very thing we have to realize. And our prayer is very important, making our sacrifices in our prayer, doing acts of penance, reparation, are so important in this work, because, no matter how much work you and I can do physically, it still won't ever overcome this great wave. It really is the Lord and only the Lord. And when we're open to Him, and through prayer and through doing His will, then greater things can happen.
And the words of Mother Teresa in support of life in that famous 1994 speech continue to resonate in our hearts today.
It is really a war against the child, a direct killing of the innocent child, murder by the mother herself. And if we accept that the mother can kill even her own child, how can we tell other people not to kill one another? How do we persuade a woman not to have an abortion? As always, we must pursue her with love, and we remind ourselves that love means to be willing to give until it hurts.
Human Life International is indeed an example of giving until it hurts, and a true beacon of hope in the world. In her charitable work, Mother Teresa acted as a spiritual mother to countless thousands, reaching out to those who no one else wanted to, and to those it seemed the whole world had given up on. But like a true mother, she never gave up. Well, there's another famous mother in Rome who's being celebrated on August 27th. Her name is Saint Monica, and she's the patron saint of all mothers, both physical and spiritual. Saint Monica is entombed here in Rome at the 15th century church of Sant'Agostino, which bears the name of her famous son, a doctor of the church. St. Augustine was not, by any mother's definition, an easy child. As he described himself, if you can imagine any type of sin, he got into it. Yet his mother, a faithful Catholic, prayed for 33 years, never giving up on her son's conversion.
This church is so important because it contains the remains of St. Augustine's mother, Monica. Monica was such a dedicated mother, and she knew that praying for her son's eternal end was the most important thing that she could ever do for him. When her son came from Africa to Italy, she was determined to find him and never stopped praying for the salvation of his soul. She even asked St. Ambrose, the Bishop of Milan, to talk some sense into her son, and he famously replied, "There is nothing that I can do that's even more powerful than a mother's prayers and a mother's tears." That's why she is called the Mother of Tears. Eventually, St. Augustine's heart was changed.
He eventually became a catechumen, a Christian, a priest, a bishop, and one of the greatest doctors of the Church, contributing copious writings which are an important part of the Church's deposit of faith today. The feast days of this mother-son duo are celebrated on consecutive days in the Universal Church, the 27th and 28th of August. This year, the Holy Mass on the 28th will be celebrated by Cardinal Benjamin Stella, the prefect for the Congregation of Clergy. On August 28th of 2013, Pope Francis visited this church, and in the chapel of the tomb of St. Monica remarked how many tears Monica cried for the conversion of her son, and how many mothers also today shed tears for their children to return to Christ. Do not lose hope in the grace of God. All week long, you can keep up with the latest happenings in Rome on our Twitter feed, which is @VoiceOfVatican. And be sure to like us on Facebook on our Voice of the Vatican page. Keep checking our social media feeds for breaking news and information about upcoming guests and features. And we want to hear your voice too. Email your questions and stories to us at vov@shalomworld.org. This is Ashley Nerona, and on behalf of the entire staff and crew of Voice of the Vatican, I wish you a blessed week and feasts of St. Augustine and St. Monica. May God bless you and your family. Saying ciao for now from the Eternal City, I'll see you next week right here on Voice of the Vatican, only on Shalom World TV, bringing Rome to your home.